Perfect. Well, welcome everyone, and just want to thank you so much for joining this training and really joining JA this year. We know JA looks very different in this virtual sense, so we just appreciate all of your flexibility and patience with us this year as we navigate the new waters. Congratulations also for logging onto the platform. This is a big step. Your teacher is going to send you a link to their school platform, just like we sent you a link today. So please do not use your personal Zoom or your work Zoom account. The educator will have to send you a link to whatever platform they use in their school. So whether it's Zoom or Google Classroom or a different platform, they're all very user-friendly and very easy to navigate. The first thing we are going to talk through today is some tips and tricks for teaching virtually. I've taught a few classes this fall just to see what life is like teaching virtually and just want to share with you some things that I learned. The biggest thing we are hoping for this year is that you can take 10 minutes and do a practice run with your teacher. This is really going to help them practice sending you the link. It'll help you practice logging on and getting situated, and then you can see what your classroom is going to look like. If your teacher doesn't have the capability to have a 10-minute practice, you can always email them and work out some of the details through email as well, but we are highly recommending this practice run because it's going to help mitigate a lot of those technology issues that you might have. Also, something JA is recommending this year is that you give the teacher your cell phone number and that they give you a phone number in return, whether that's their classroom number, maybe the school's direct number, and then they have to be transferred to the teacher, or if the teacher wants to give you their cell phone number. If technology issues do arise, it's going to be much easier if you can be on the phone with your teacher or texting them versus trying to email back and forth to get the technology issues fixed. We would love to tell you that we know that technology will be perfect, that we know what your classroom will look like, but unfortunately, no, that's not always how life works. There could be a few different scenarios when you beam into the classroom. I've had a class where I was projected on the smartboard where I could see the whole class, I could see them raising their hands and being engaged, but it was kind of hard for me to hear them because they were so far away from the microphone. So the teacher really had to be that mediator between me and the student. So once I would call on a student, the student would have to answer the question and then the teacher would have to repeat the question at the computer. So just know that everything has their ups and downs and pros and cons, but you can teach anyway. Another way that you might teach JA is where a teacher has you on a laptop and she walks around the room. So you can see and hear the student who's answering your question. So once you call on a student, then the teacher will walk the Chromebook over to that student so you can hear them and see them. Another way that might be teaching JA would be a 1-to-1 ratio, just like we are today, where we're on a 1-to-1 device where you can see the students and hear them. The one thing I would recommend if your teacher wants to have you present in this form is that you really encourage the teacher and the students to use the mute and unmute button. In the class where we taught this, it was a 5th grade class and they were also learning how to type. So they were very excited to use the chat feature. So instead of unmuting themselves to answer a question, they all wanted to type in the chat. This is fine if your students want to use the chat feature, but just know it was a little slow for response since we were waiting for all the students to give their answers. So really encourage the teacher to have the students unmute themselves. Plus that way, when your students are still super excited, you can say, okay, Ms. Johnson, can you help me call on 2 students? And then you can keep those answers down to 2. That way you can keep moving on with your presentation. Again, that 10-minute practice will help mitigate some of those fears right off the bat because you can talk to the teacher and say, okay, this is how I'm going to present. This is what it will be like. Also, you will have to practice with your teacher sharing your screen. So they will be the host of the platform. They will have to make you the host in order for you to share the JA platform. So just know you can go through all that in that practice run with your teacher. When you're teaching JA virtually, there's just a few things we want you to be mindful of. We really want to make sure that your name represents you on your device. So for instance, my name says Junior Achievement, but if I was logging into the classroom, it would say Tessa Wilbur, JA. We really want the teachers to feel comfortable letting you into the classroom, and they might have a harder time if your device does not properly reflect your name. So make sure your device reflects your name first and last, and then your company name if you want. One other thing we love to tell volunteers is we know life is crazy and busy and different for everyone. So some of you will be teaching JA from your home, some of you will be teaching from your work. So we really want you to just take this time and mitigate any distractions and give your whole time to the students of JA. So whether that's shutting a door or maybe finding a neutral background, turning up your microphone so you can hear the students better and they can hear you, just really devoting that time to JA and trying to avoid as many distractions as possible. The next thing we are going to talk about is how to log on to the learning platform. You all should have received an email from JA. It's going to be under the email JASA, and this is because this is the JA USA learning platform. When you receive that email from JASA, you should be able to reset your password. When you reset your password, make sure you are giving the system at least an hour to reset. Once you've given an hour or so for the platform to reset, you go to learn.ja.org to log on and access the digital materials. Once you've gone to learn.ja.org, it should go to the screen below where you see the 3 green boxes. You're going to click on the third box that says educators, students, and volunteers. Once you've clicked on that box, it should bring you to this screen where you will get to type in your username and password. Your username is going to be the email that JA has on file for you. And then your password is going to be that password you just created a few hours ago. Once you are all logged in, it should bring you to this platform. If you see a different platform, please feel free to reach out to JA. We have had some issues with that this year, so we really want to help you navigate through the technology issues so you can access your materials. So if you don't see this specific platform, please reach out to us. Once you're here, you're going to go under My JA Courses and click on Programs. You should see as many programs as classes you're enrolled in. So we're going to pretend we are teaching a 3rd grade classroom. Once you're here, it's going to bring you to this main home screen. The first thing you're going to do is click on Program, Overview, and Resources. Once you're there, you're going to click on the Guide for Volunteers and Teachers. Then you're going to click the play button in the middle. It'll bring you to this screen where you can pull up the volunteer guide. If you have a second screen or want to toggle screens, you can click on this link right here, which will open up the volunteer guide. We do want to apologize in advance. The guide cannot be printed this year, so it does need to be on a digital platform. If you don't have a second screen or you don't want to toggle, you can open up your smartphone, go to the camera, and hover over this QR code. This QR code will open up the volunteer guide on your phone. If you toggle back to the screen, oops, I do apologize. Too many tabs open. You're going to go to a session. So session 1 is earn, save, spend, and donate. And you're going to click that on-screen presentation. This will help you navigate the online platform. A few notes right away is you are going to want to make this full screen. How you present full screen is on the bottom right here. We want you to present full screen because that's going to make it larger for the students to see, and this is how they're going to have to play their activity. So we really want it to be full screen. Once you've got it full screen, you are ready to have your volunteer guide in tandem and really work through the materials. It's set up the same way a normal kit version would be set up. So you're going to have a welcome. You're going to talk about the junior journals the students will have. Not every program will have a junior journal, but they all will have some sort of student worksheet. The teacher is responsible for printing these out, so you do not have to worry about those. If you do that 10-minute practice run with your teacher, feel free to talk to her about that and make sure she logged onto the platform to be able to print out the materials. Then it's really gonna look like any other program. We really want it to be fun and interactive. A lot of the programs have videos and these are very user-friendly. You just click play and it plays the video. This is something good to practice with your teacher though. Make sure you can share your screen, click into one of the lessons, try the video, play some of the games, and make sure everything's working as it should. The interactive flashcards are just like you would normally see. So you are used to having a physical kit with these physical flashcards. Now it's just a click of a button. You can still talk to students and ask, what does save mean? You click on it and it gives you the definition to put money away or use later. It works with all the flashcards. This content is exactly the same as you would see in a kit version, and there is a lot of content, just like how sometimes you normally are like, how am I going to get through all of this content in 45 minutes? It's the same with the online presentation. Feel free to have the flexibility, just like you would with your volunteer physical guide, to skip through some of the things. So if you are running into some technology issues and maybe it takes you 5 or 10 minutes to get logged on and to get started, feel free to skip some of these to make sure that you are still hitting the points of JA that really matter, which is having fun and really sharing that JA story. So why do you teach JA? How does this content connect to your personal and professional life? That is still so important and something that even though JA is virtual this year, we want to still get across. So make sure you are still hitting those points. There's still going to be that wrap up and conclusion, just like always. And if you have a little extra time, I know when I teach some of these programs and I have a few extra minutes, the students want to show that video again. It's super fun and interactive. They have to social distance this year, but they can still sit at their desk and dance. So if you go to the bottom on those 3 bars and click the back arrow, this is going to show you all the slides in the presentation. So you just click that back arrow, find the video, slide 7, click on it, click on this to go down, and we're back to the video and can show it again. So just know, even though it is a presentation style, you do still have a ton of flexibility, just like you would with your volunteer book. To exit out of the full screen mode, you just click on that button again. I just want to show you one example from a 5th grade curriculum. Every program looks a little different. So the biggest note I can give you guys is just like you would take 20 or 30 minutes to go through your kit to rip apart some game pieces, you still need to take that 20 or 30 minutes per lesson and go through this presentation. Every curriculum looks a little different. 3rd grade doesn't have quite as much writing on it. 5th grade has a lot more prompts on the presentation, so you might not need your volunteer guide as much. It also has different games like this drag and drop. So you would use it. Is Steve Jobs the CEO and creator of Amazon? Nope, it didn't bounce in. What about Apple? Yes, so it goes in. There are tons of different games in the program. So no matter what grade you teach, please take time and go through each lesson and play the games. Scroll through everything, play the videos, make sure everything works and you know how to use it. That's going to be your biggest benefit to you, to make sure that you don't have those technology issues when you're teaching JA. The platform is very easy to use. It's very user friendly. As you can see, every session is going to be on this left-hand navigation. But again, we just want to make sure that you are logging in early and going through those slides. Since we have had some technology issues this year that we were unaware of a few months ago, it's good to just please make it a priority to practice logging in, making sure you can see the correct platform, and going through your different lessons. So I hope you learned a little bit about what the platform looks like, how it is to log on, and really just going to take this time to answer any questions you have about technology or about the platform.
If we